So, the moment of truth is upon us. Did all of our hard work, pouring all this concrete by hand with buckets, actually work? We can see from the top, because that's been exposed, that the top's all set nicely. One thing I will say is that if we were to do it again, we probably wouldn't have the battens. I haven't got any to hand, I've just taken them off, but the battens that attach the front of the form to the back of the form on the top, because we came right up to that level and it meant I couldn't smooth the concrete off underneath it. So where the concrete's come up to those battens, it's kind of risen a bit in places, and then you've got a bit of a dip underneath where the batten was. But it's not the end of the world, because we're going to be bedding these wall plates in with mortar anyway to get them all level, so it doesn't really need to be smooth. Well, I guess there's nothing else to do. You ready for the big reveal?
Very ready.
No, I'm only joking. So we've freed up enough to get one of these bits of wood off so we can see what we're dealing with. I think my buttocks are going to be firmly clenched whilst we're doing this. I'm feeling very nervous. From what I can see, it's looking good.
Oh, that is so smooth. Okay.
Looking decent.
Come on, tell me.
Okay, not great there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, boy. It's okay.
Well, what a difference a day or two can make. On the day we were taking off the formwork, we actually had to stop filming because the camera kept overheating. It ended up being about 40 degrees that day. Since then, we've had torrential rain, and today, stood here in just a t-shirt, when the clouds are covering the sun, I'm actually a little bit nippy.
Yeah, it sort of feels like overnight summer's ended. I know it hasn't, like we're forecast, I think, more sunshine next week, but the rain could not have come at a worse time, because we were trying to be smart and think ahead and get our wood for the roof ordered. So that arrived the other day, and obviously we're having to store it outside because these lengths of wood are like 6 meters long. We don't have somewhere to store it. Had it covered over with tarps, but we just had crazy rain. So we are both praying that that wood is going to be okay. So last time we didn't get round to mentioning that when we took the form off, there was a few issues, not major, pretty minor issues. The first one was that on the gable slopes where we had it covered with OSB, because we did this in different stages, there's a couple of areas where when kind of fresh concrete came down to meet concrete that was laid a few hours ago, we vibrated it but didn't properly go through. So there was a couple of spaces on the top where it kind of dipped in and you could see kind of the gravel on the inside of the concrete. So I came out the other day and I just made up a small batch of concrete and patched those up, because these slopes, they're not actually going to take any of the weight. The weight is going to be on the top and on the front and back walls. All I wanted to do was just get it patched up so that any water or moisture couldn't find its way into the ring beam. So the second problem we had was that there's been a little bit of honeycombing, and that's basically where, when you take the form off, the surface isn't smooth and you can kind of see the gravel kind of pattern inside, but it's easily rectified. Ours is minor honeycombing. I think we could probably leave it be, to be honest, but just to make sure that no moisture can get inside of this ring beam, we've gone and bought some, what's this called? Concrete repairer, I think is what you would call it. Ours is suitable for structural work. So we're now going to mix that up with some water and then go fill in those honeycombing areas, and then it should look nice and smooth once it's set.
How's your bicep feeling after that?
This is a workout and a half. Okay, so that's all the patchwork done on all the areas that were honeycombed. Actually dries really nicely. Let me show you. See there, that's all patched up. You can barely tell the difference. And that's only after it's been drying for about an hour or so, which is pretty good. One thing that neither of us had realized was we knew this was, it's called Rapido or Rapide. We knew it was going to be quick setting. We missed on the instructions quite how quick setting it was. So here, we both missed this line. It basically says it's moldable, it's malleable for about 15 minutes. So the first batch, we actually mixed up half of that bag. Well, I only managed to get filling one of the holes before all of it had gone off and unfortunately had to be wasted. This is what happened in 15 minutes, about 20 minutes in the bottom of the bucket. So yeah, after that, unfortunately I had to keep doing minute little batches just to make sure it didn't go off, but we got there in the end.
So today we need to treat the wood, and we haven't actually looked underneath the tarp since we covered them over to protect them from the heavy rainstorms. We've done our best to keep it as dry as possible, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a little bit nervous about what lies beneath. This, my yoga mat, to elevate the tarp away from the wood to ventilate it, but it's really taken one for the team. It's such a sausage, so squashed.
More of a pancake.
Yeah, pancake.
Well, considering how torrential the rain has been and how wet it's been here for what, like nearly a week now, I'm pretty happy with how this wood has managed to stay being stored outside. It doesn't really seem like we've had any damage at all. One of the wall plates has gone a little bit skew-if, but I don't know whether it was already going that way already. I don't actually think that's as a result of like the rain and humidity. So overall, pretty happy.
They're really stiff.
Good. So we're giving this a treatment now, try and stop all pesky little bugs getting to it and ruining the wood. This also protects it against kind of moisture and humidity. It's not waterproofer, but we're gonna give it a proper finish once all of the wood is in situ in the roof. And now it's time to try and move the beasts. 3, 2, 1.
I'm already going.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's go. Yeah.
Look at this boy. Just chilling. What a life.
So the wood is fully protected now. It got 2 coats of the treatment. We left it overnight so it could completely dry off. But when we were actually handling the wood, I'll be honest, I'm feeling a bit nervous about it because it was really, really heavy, and obviously we were only moving it at maybe like 80 centimetres from ground level. So definitely a challenge ahead of us today.
As you might have noticed, we've got 2 big old pieces of timber here. And the reason for that is because we're going to use both of these and bolt them together as our ridge beam. We're pretty limited here in terms of access and kind of machinery that we can have down at the tiny house. So although we can get a smaller truck down to the tiny house to deliver, you know, gravel, sand, cement, that kind of stuff, the kind of truck that has to deliver 6 meter long pieces of wood can't fit because the access is really tight up at the top. So that's meant that we've had to have wood delivered up here. We're then going to have to carry it down to the tiny house, and then we can't get a crane or anything down there to help us get it up onto the gable. So we're going to be doing that ourselves, just with manpower. And as a result, you know, it's going to be much easier to have the ridge in 2 pieces where it's just a bit more manageable, because even now I think this is still going to be a struggle getting each one of these up.
I was having nightmares about it last night, actually lifting it up. One of the dreams I had was that we managed to get the first one all the way up onto the gable end. We got it up there and then we looked down and we'd carried up a canoe.
Right, well, trying to pass it up over the back wall and pivot it, not gonna work at all. So it's gonna come back down and we're gonna try something different. So this attempt here, a bit of a last ditch attempt to be honest, because we're out of ideas for today. So the plan is kind of make 2 kind of ladder type devices that we can just step it up bit by bit until we get to the top. Let's see what happens. I'm a little bit in disbelief that that worked. I don't know about you.
There's too much cortisone, nobody. I feel like I've aged instantly doing that.
Yeah.
I found it so stressful.
Yes, 1 ridge beam in place.
1 of 2.
1 of 2.
Such mixed emotions. I'm relieved, I'm happy, I'm impressed that we managed to do it.
I'm proud of you, you know. It's like, I was actually high. Not to say it was sketchy, like we didn't do anything that was putting ourselves at risk. Like we were,
Yeah.
You probably can't tell because we had it on a time lapse, but we took quite a long time doing that, going back up and down to make sure we had the right footing and we were both comfortable.
I've never actually been on top of the wall, and then I've certainly never been on top of the ring beam, so I got no idea what I was letting myself in for.
Yeah.
Conclusion, it's fine if you're not moving.
True.
Like if you just sat on it, it's fine.
True. So we've still got 1 more to do, but as you can probably see from the sky in the last shot, the sky has turned black and we've got thunder and there's lightning in the distance. So we are not going to push our luck for today, and we're going to get something to kind of secure this bit of wood in place to make sure it can't topple. I don't think it will anyway because it's blooming heavy. But we'll put some big rocks either side of it and probably get it covered so it doesn't get wet.
Yeah, let this adrenaline go as well a little bit. My legs are trembling.
Let's get the lady a drink.
got a ridge beam.
We do indeed.
That is such a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, we still need to get some long bolts to bolt the two together. Normally our local DIY shop, he's really good with any bolts or nuts or screws or anything we need, but he's taking a week's holiday, so probably going to hold off for a couple of days till he comes back so he can have the business. As well as the bolts, the next step is going to be to secure that ridge beam in place, to get the wall plates up, but that's definitely going to be for next time. So hope you can come back and see us again soon. And we just want to say, I hope we've not been a bit kind of lackluster in this video, but it's been a stressful few weeks. We had an unexpected trip back to the UK for a family funeral. We nearly had to evacuate because of a nearby fire. We had Poppy's had an infection. Ted had a gland erupt. Can't be saying it, it's making me feel exhausted. But yeah, that's why we didn't have a video out last week. There's just been a lot going on.
A bit much.
Yeah, but this week we've tried to press on again, and next week, hopefully, back to normal. Business as usual.